You're Tolucc, I take it. Thanks for helping us out, friend. No doubt the Bowlord has already informed you, but your task is to enter the Deepcroft and purge it of the Lambs of Dalamud. In case you're unfamiliar with them, the cult emerged shortly before the Calamity put an end to the Sixth Astral Era. The cultists took the Lesser Moon Dalamud for their god, believing that it would deliver them from the devastation. And so they were rather disappointed when Dalamud exploded into 1,000 flaming pieces before it could complete its descent. Now, having seen their god turn to ash, one would think that the cultists might feel moved to question their faith. On the contrary, it served only to stoke the flames of their phantasm. The Lambs of Dalamud are convinced that heretics, that is to say, everyone but them, interfered with the coming of their Lord and Savior, and that it's now their sacred duty to avenge them. Whatever it is they're doing in the Deepcroft, you may be sure that no good will come of it. For the sake of Gridania and Eorzea at large, put an end to their madness. Welcome back, Tolucc. I'm reliably informed that your foray into the Deepcroft was a success. Nor did I expect anything less. You've made such a habit of succeeding that it's difficult not to take your talents for granted. Rest assured, however, Mother is impressed, even if she isn't surprised. Lord Lewin asked me to pass on his thanks. I must say, it's something of a relief to be able to call upon such a capable adventurer. Sadly, death has become an ever more common occurrence within our fraternity of late. Times being what they are, the guild is constantly inundated with petitions, and we are hard-pressed to find enough hands to deal with them all. While this means no shortage of work for able souls such as yourself, it also provides ample opportunity for the inexperienced to overreach themselves, with predictable consequences. As if to illustrate the point. Avery's gone and it's all your fault. If it hadn't taken you an age to heal him, he would still be alive. But I tried. He bolted out of range before I could finish the spell. He shouldn't have been so hard-pressed in the first place. We should have done more to lighten his burden. To the hells with this pathetic excuse for a party. I'm leaving and it'd be too soon if I never see your faces again. Goodbye and good riddance. I'm leaving as well. I doubt this comes as any surprise, but I never liked you. I only suffered you for your healing. But you couldn't even do that one thing right. Cruel though this may sound, you brought this upon yourself. Oh, and by the way, of some parting advice, get rid of Aver's head. Bury it, cremate it, do whatever the hells you like with it, but for God's sake, stop carrying it around. It's just get rid of it, alright? Wait, don't leave me alone, please. I'm so sorry, Ever. Please forgive me. Scenes like this have been all too common. That makes 12 times in half as many days. Now you see why I'm grateful for adventurers of your experience. I can send women like you on a mission without worrying that you might not return. Well, not so much at any rate. Speaking of missions, I would entrust you with another. About a bell ago, I received a message from my counterpart in Ulda. She seeks the services of a reliable adventurer, and you are nothing if not reliable. If you think you might be interested in this task, say the word, and I'll be glad to share the details with you. Mune has information on a new task. So, you're not averse to taking a little trip? Wonderful. As I mentioned earlier, the request comes to us from the Adventurers Guild in Ulda. Once you arrive, seek out Momodi, the proprietress of the Quicksand. Think of her as the Sultanat's version of myself. Chances are she'll send you into the midst of danger, but I have every confidence that you will pull through unscathed. Now, off you go, Tolucc, and good luck. Welcome to the Quicksand, friend. I'm a tad busy right now. If you wouldn't mind showing yourself to... Judging by your determined expression, I take it you ain't here for ale. Are you called Tolucc by the chance? Mune sent word that you'd be purporting for duty. She also made a point of calling you the adventurer of the moment. That ain't no small praise coming from her. But you didn't come all this way to listen to my prattle. Doubtless you're eager to get started. So let's talk business, shall we? Momodi is waiting to brief you on your task. The petitioner ought to be arriving any moment now. Gods almighty, another second under that sun and I would have been set afire. A tankard of ale, if you'd be so kind. Excellent timing, Papashan. It just so happens the adventurer who will be handling your petition is here. So this winsome lass is the much-ladled adventurer, is she? Marvelous. Marvelous. A pleasure to make your acquaintance, milady. I am Papashan, formerly of the Sultan Sworn. I thank you for agreeing to lend us your aid. Mayhap you'd like to appraise Tolucc of her mission? Yes, of course. The petition in question was submitted by an acquaintance of mine at Amagian and Sons Mineral Concern. It relates to an unfortunate development at Copperbell Mines. To be plain, giants have seized control of the place. These giants are the clan known as the Hectornoshries, fearsome creatures who were sealed within the deepest depths of the mine during the bygone Thorn Dynasty. Alas, it seems they have managed to break through the layer of rock which served to imprison them, and now prowl the tunnels where the miners ply their trade. The creatures are justifiably angry about their treatment of the hands of our ancestors, and their presence has forced the suspension of all mining activities on the site. It's no wonder they're angry. Didn't the Thorn Dynasty come to an end over 300 years ago? You know your history well, milady. The people of that age used the Hecatonoshries to work their mines by way of enchanted helms. They were able to bind their ferocious creatures to their will, but as is oft the way in such tales, these enchantments eventually failed, and the slaves rose up against their masters. In a desperate bid to contain the unbridled fury of the Hecatonoshries, our ancestors induced the collapse of the mine's lowermost levels, so it was that great giant revolt was ended, buried beneath 100,000 tons of rock. Well now, that got me thinking. I seem to recall there being an article about Copperbell in the Mithril Eye a fortnight or so ago. They said the mines were being reopened so as to meet a rising demand for building materials. Like as not, our boys dug a bit too deep and freed the giants. Gods, to think the poor creatures are still alive and kicking after 3 centuries. That's a long time to nurse a grudge. They must be seething. Indeed, and that's what makes them a danger to us all. There'll be no mining at Copperbell so long as they remain. For the sake of our both peace and prosperity, they must be subdued. This is the task which would have you undertake. I'll not deny that the mission will be rife with danger, but our need is great, and so I beg you, put an end to this sorry business. Gods bless you. I feared you might have reservations, but I assure you it is for the best. In case you don't know, Copperbell Mines are in western Thenalanan. Do you take care, you hear? And one last thing before you depart. An employee of Amagian and Sons is presently at the quicksand. The fellow's name is Painted Mesa, and he knows Copperbell Mines well. It may behoove you to seek his counsel. Looking for Painted Mesa? You found him. So you're the adventurer who volunteered to deal with the mess down in Copperbell, are you? You've got guts, miss. I just hope you got skills to go with them, because things ain't pretty down there. The Hecatonoshries left the place in a right state and nary a week after mining resumed. I don't know if you know this, but Copperbell was old when the second old dynasty was still young, and it was abandoned centuries ago. If it hadn't been for the shortage of materials needed for the rebuilding effort, the concern would never have thought to reopen it. We knew full well about giants beforehand, but the project went ahead anyway. I mean, nothing could possibly survive being buried under a mountain's worth of rock for 3 centuries, right? Wrong. Our miners dug up more than they bargained for. One swing of the pickaxe too many, and they found themselves in the company of giants. Unless we can subdue them, the nation's glorious recovery grind to a halt for want of aught to build with. The stone torchers keeping watch over the entrance in case the giants fancy some sunlight and fresh air. One of them will be able to show you the way in. The hope of the nation's resting on you, friend. Best of luck. There's been an incident inside Copperbell Mines. We're here to ensure that its effects are contained, but for your own safety, I suggest you stay well away from here. What? You're the adventurer who's volunteered to quell the Hectorosheries? I didn't think that Papa Shan would be able to find someone so quickly, if at all. The giants are content to wreak havoc inside the mines for now, but it's only a matter of time before they think to come outside. The sooner you see to them, the better. Make ready as best you can and enter at will. Ah, the conqueror of Copperbell returns. Thanks to you, our mining operations can resume and Ulda will have the material she needs to rebuild. The entire nation's in your debt, friend. I'll share the good tidings with Papashin the next time I see him. As for you, you'll want to report to Momodi. It'll do the woman well to see you alive in one piece. No! Shut your mouth, you thieving little swine. You stole from me. Don't even think to deny it. Please, sir, I didn't steal nothing. I bought this, paid for it with my own coin. What rot, you refugees are all the same. Couldn't afford maggoty mole meat, much less a choice cut of dodo. I'm gonna say it one more time. Give back what you stole or I'll make you wish you never set foot in this town. By rights, I should turn you over to the brass blades, help keep the streets safe for law-abiding citizens, but I'm a reasonable man. If you agree to serve me in whatever capacity I require, the authorities needn't hear of your crime. But I ain't done nothing wrong. 12 is me witness. Please, adventurer, help me, I beg of you. That's from me mother's grave. I didn't steal nothing. I bought this with the coin I'd save. I only wanted to treat me child to a decent meal. And who the hells are you when you're at home? This dog's master? I've had enough of this mummer's face. You lot, teach them a lesson. I ain't getting paid enough for this. Hey, where the hells do you think you're going? Thank you, kind adventurer. Thank you thrice over. I'd swear there were more refugees than when I last looked. And you wouldn't be mistaken. But it's been 5 years since the calamity. Why are they only coming here now? It's simple, really. While a number of hamlets survived the immediate aftermath of the calamity, many were no longer able to support their communities. The residents found their lands had either been rendered barren or cut off from trade routes, and problems like those aren't easily solved. Though they tried to make the best of it, it was only a matter of time before they were forced to abandon their homes and seek a new life in the city. I see. But the calamity affected the whole realm, didn't it? Is the same thing happening in each other cities? If the talk is true, yes. Though perhaps our situation is more pronounced. Ul'dah has a reputation for being prosperous, so it's natural that the refugees would try their luck here first. My heart goes out to them, it truly does, but I would be lying if I said that I wasn't apprehensive. I hope their presence doesn't foment lawlessness in the city. Well, if things do take a turn for the worse, we always have the immortal flames. I dare say the brass blades would welcome their help. The heroes who fought the Garlean Empire patrolling the streets for riffraff? It may well come to that. Impoverished and desperate as they are, you may be sure that some of the refugees will turn to crime. You know what this place is like? If you've no coin, you've no hope. What will become of our city? Not all refugees are bad, mind you. Some are able to find employment and lead honest lives. Dodo tenderloins. Get your dodo tenderloins. Guaranteed cheapest in Thanalan. Thank you for your custom, madame. Please come again. Looking around, you'd think that Ul'dah is well on its way to recovery. But peer through the veil of prosperity and you'll see no end to the misery and suffering. Madame, are you alright? What now? You mean to threaten a defenseless citizen? What? Sorry, by that meat you say, that's absurd. Aye, as did I. Leave the poor woman alone, you damnable vulture. Who said that? Well, I'll overlook this, but just this once. God's bless you, adventurer. If you hadn't come along when you did, who knows what that monster might have done. I don't bear thinking about it. Case closed. Hello again. We've been keeping a close eye on you ever since you left Gridania. You discharged your duty as envoy impeccably, and never once faltered in the face of myriad dangers. But more importantly, you were always ready to help those in need, even if you didn't stand to earn a gil by doing so. You are possessed of all qualities we seek in an adventurer. Of this we are convinced. Even if you were kinda dragged into that business with the dodo meat. Yes, thank you, Ida, And then there is the matter of your gift. I dare say you are curious as to the nature of your vision you bore witness to moments ago? Well, we can help you understand it. You're not the only one with that power, you know. We have a friend who has it too, and we'd love for you to meet her. And meeting her is only the beginning, for we would also have you lend your strength to our cause. In return, we should be glad to assist your adventuring endeavors in whatever way we find able. Should you decide to take us up on our offer, and I sincerely hope you will, pray speak with Momodi, the proprietress of the Quicksand and a good friend of ours. She'll tell you where to find us. Wait a minute. We haven't even told you the name of our order. We're the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, Defenders of Justice. Oh, but don't tell anyone, except for Momodi. She already knows. Scenes like that are becoming ever more common, I'm afraid. Don't worry though, if you work hard, you'll probably be alright. Saying that, if you ever find yourself in a spot of bother, come and see me. Just don't go pestering me every time you graze your knee, eh? Of course, I do enjoy hearing the tale of a gentleman's woes with the woman folk from time to time. Ah, Tolucc. Sorry to keep you waiting. I was just providing guidance to a fresh-off-the-carriage adventurer. But gods, it's good to see you safe and well. To look at you, no one would ever guess you'd been hard at it with giants in the dark. Your every elm the adventurer immune said you'd be, Tolucc. The station master will be overjoyed when she hears the news. Oh, before I forget, there's a lass here who wants a word with you. Didn't actually know your name, but hearing her description, I knew who she meant right away. Thank you for sparing the time. I realize you don't know me, but I've been longing to speak with you for a while now. My name is Etta. I'm an adventurer like you, though I'm not very good at being one, if truth be told. Anyway, I was adventuring with my friends in Gridania we were in Gridania when the leader of our party was killed. His name was Aver, and he and I were to be wed in the spring. You may not remember him, but to say he remembered you would be an understatement. He would sing your praises from dusk till dawn. He saw you for what you are, you see, an adventurer's adventurer, and swore that he would be just like you one day. I believe that he would have succeeded, had a fiend not robbed him of the chance. Since that day I have thought long and hard about giving up adventuring. But when I think of the woman you are, of all that you've achieved, I find that I'm inspired, just as Aver once was. And so I've decided to start again as an adventurer. I will go back to the village of my birth and begin my training anew. But I wanted to meet you first, to ask your name. Tolucc, I shan't forget. Thank you, Tolucc. I pray that we will meet again. Fare you well. Adventuring can be cruel, bleeding business. Time was. I didn't know why anyone would bother. But when they first asked me to take charge of the guild here, I didn't want aught to do with you lot. Thought it'd be right pain in the arse looking after all you. But against my better judgment, I decided to accept the post, and I'm full glad I did. I feel privileged to be a part of your lives. And that goes double for yours too, Tolucc. What'd you say? You want to know about the signs of the seventh dawn? They're beginning to move in earnest then. Listen, Tolucc, the signs aren't no ordinary folk, and the work they do ain't no ordinary work. I know full well how capable you are, but even you would have to think twice about attempting some of the stuff they do. Knowing that, if you're still certain you want to get involved, I'll tell you what I can.